Discretion is expressed for the following program. If you are easily triggered or offended, please exercise caution. Because the hosts really don't care. Warning, this show is not for children. And not for coworkers either. And yes, that includes you, Cindy. And everyone hates the smell of your cocoa chai latte with mint leaves.
I feel bad. We did that one last week. I'm gonna delete that. Delete.
I like the
Hey, everybody, welcome
with mint leaves.
Yes. It just clears the sinuses, you know? That's what everybody needs. They need to have their coworkers having their sinuses cleared right in front of them. Oh, lovely. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Sorry we didn't have a show last Friday. We were going to. There was definitely a plan, and the plan was interrupted, and I'm sorry that I was laying on the beach. I regret it.
The plan was, look, dear, you're not doing a stupid show while we're here on vacation. And you were like, yes, dear. I'm paraphrasing there, but I'm pretty sure that's how that went down. At least that's how it would have went down at my residence.
Yeah. So let me get this straight. We're on vacation, and you're going to do a show
on the beach
from our hotel room while I'm asleep. No.
I wasn't gonna do that. That's stupid. That's no.
Yes. That'd have to be some kind of
Deacon. We're not doing
moron.
No.
Deacon, come out, dude. Tap.
9:38 at night.
Actually, she was gonna let me do the show, but the bandwidth was just really bad at the hotel. So,
glad your South Padre Beach Island vacation was good though.
Yeah, it was technically a work event for my wife, and she brought me along as her plus one. So she was doing work, and I was like chilling at the beach.
I've been the plus one to many of Ashley's work events. We've been all over the country. Vegas and Minneapolis, and
it's fun.
It's been fun,
dude. I was in an airplane. Okay, so we flew. We didn't drive. It was like 4.5, 5 hours, but whatever. We flew. I got into an airplane. It was the second smallest airplane I've ever been in my life. I think the smallest one I've ever been was a little jumper flight that I took from.
How long did the flight take?
It took like 54 minutes, but it would have been 4 or 5. It would have been like 5 hours driving. The airplane had
5 hours flying. I was like, "What? Where'd you go?"
No. The airplane had 2 seats on one side of the plane, and 1 seat on the other side of the plane.
And were there chickens running down the aisle?
No. But when I stood up, I was, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. But when I stood up, I had to do this because and like not even standing up straight. I was kind of hunched and still had my head to the side because that was the only way that I was not going to.
While you were sitting there, did the pilot walk back and go to the bathroom and to the back of the plane and then come back and
who's running this thing? What's up? And then we hit a little spot where there was like a little of this, and I was like, normally I'm like, that's fine, I'm flying, and I was like, and I dropped for a second. I was like, I'm gonna die on this stupid plane.
At least that I had something to talk about today.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Let's take it a story. Okay. How was your weekend, sir? And what's up? And
weekend was good. I do have a funny little story to tell you here about this weekend. That something happened, and I thought, I got to tell this on the show.
You look a little different. I can't pick it out what it is. You look a little.
Oh yeah, I do look probably a little different today because I woke up this morning, I got everything ready, and I got here and I got to work, and I looked on my computer screen, and I'm like, why is everything like blurry? Why can't I see anything? And it's because my glasses are still laying on my bedside table that I just walked off and forgot this morning. So I messaged Ashley. I was like, please don't text me, call me if you need anything, because I can't read anything today. So I'm having trouble. My eyes focus weird. I've got a weird. I have prisms in my glasses to pull my eyesight, to pull my eyes. They focus off, and so
Oh,
I'm.
really?
Yeah, I have prisms in my. I don't have my glasses to show you, but if I hold them like this vertical, you can see the lines going through the glasses. It's
Oh.
from the light because the prisms, and I've always had to have them, and it's because of the way my eyes focus. And I see two of everything. You're
Oh,
just
yeah.
you are just really barely offset right now. Everything is just
Okay.
really barely offset. But I've trained my eyes over the years to pull it as close together as I possibly can, and that's what. But it just gives me a freaking headache
You know,
doing that all day long.
I feel like I might be wrong about this because obviously I'm not a doctor, but I believe that glasses are the only kind of, I mean, aside from laser surgery, glasses can actually correct your vision over time. But if you get contacts, you just have contacts. Like the contacts do not ever correct your
I don't
vision.
know. I don't know anything about
It'll
that.
change your focus in the time. You never have done contacts, I imagine. Have you ever done
I
contact
can't.
lenses?
The doctor actually wanted me to wear a contact in this eye and glasses because my eyes are so screwed up. Because
Oh,
my eyes,
wow.
so he was like, you really need to wear a contact, but my eyes are astigmatism so bad that,
Yeah.
and I can't touch my eyeball. Like that's one of those things that I physically.
Like it's not a phobia, but like
It's
kind
like
of a phobia. Yeah.
I could do it, but it's just having to do that every day is weird. I
Alright.
got another little funny, just a little quick funny story to tell
Yeah.
you that happened yesterday, and we were sitting there in the living room, and Ashley was doing laundry, and she hadn't walked away. She was just like putting clothes from the washer into the dryer, standing right there, putting the clothes from the washer into the dryer, and she like walked to the closet to get something, and then she closed the dryer and started it and walked back in there, and me and Kendra sitting on the couch, and we hear a big boom, 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 boom in the dryer, but the whole time it's going meow, meow,
Oh,
meow,
no.
meow. Just like, what is that? I'm like, I don't recognize that cat sound. And Kendra goes, oh my God, the cat's in the dryer. And Ashley was like, just kind of walking in there. And Kendra's like, go, mom, go. And it was our cat, Tabby, who was in the dryer, and he was fine. We got him out of the dryer, and it only been on like 10, 15 seconds, and not enough to get warm at all. And they were wet clothes. And he
Right.
stood there. We got him out, and he stood there, and he was just kind of like,
Concussed.
stood there
Your
for
cat's been brain damaged by a dryer.
So we loved on it for the rest of the night and gave him some extra food
Man,
and stuff. And,
that's
he was
horrible.
fun. But
And
yeah, it was
funny.
pretty funny. All right, I want to get through a song
some
real
music.
quick. Real quick.
What's our
here.
theme this week?
We don't have a theme this week, but I thought about
Okay.
doing one this morning because I was just listening to this while I was doing my work, and I thought, man, why don't we do duos? Good music duos. They don't have to be singing duos. They could be musical duos.
Okay.
A pairing of people that work very well together, like the quintessential John Lennon, Paul McCartney. They were two people that worked so well together, and they wrote music so well together that they're known as some of the best musical songwriters. The Bee Gee brothers, the Gibb brothers.
Didn't Paul write most of those songs?
No, John Lennon wrote a lot of songs too,
okay.
but Paul, yeah, they both did. So I thought, let's just do duos. And the duo this week is one of my favorite today is one of my favorite singing duos of all time. I think their voices complement each other better than anything that we've ever had before in American music. And it's the Civil Wars. Have you ever heard the Civil Wars?
I have not, but that is so appropriate.
Okay. Okay. The Civil Wars was a duo of Joy Williams and John Paul White. These were two singer-songwriters that were not very successful. And from what I remember, they found each other at a songwriters conference or something like that down in Nashville. They got together, they started writing songs, and they realized that their voices complemented each other so very well, and they were around, and their on-stage presence was unfreaking real. It was like you would watch it and say, are they married? They have to be married to each other because it was so intimate and sensual without being intimate and sensual. you could just tell that these two, the way they sang to each other in their live performances, and that's what killed them, because they were both independently married before they met. So can you imagine watching? You got to watch some of their performances and watch just how sensual without being sensual they were. And I would be very uncomfortable if I was her husband, with as close as she was getting and singing with him. It would be really hard to separate the musical professionalism from the relationship because of how close of a singing partnership Joy Williams and John Paul White had. Now, this song, Billie Jean, is a cover of Michael Jackson's Billie Jean. I was going to pick Barton Hollow. I was going to pick, there's several that I play on the station that I was going to pick, but I thought, no, I'm going to pick this one because this is a song that you all know, and it is so freaking different.
Good.
It's so
This is
different that it really highlights their, you know, their
I mean,
singing, their duo, their singing duo with each other, the way that they come in.
if a potential like marital affair could have a voice, it would sound just like this.
Exactly, right? Right. And that's how all their songs are. And you can hear it in their music. They were so, but according to them, they never had anything like that. Nothing. You know, but
yeah,
I guess
no chemistry.
Yeah, I guess you respect they had chemistry, but
Yeah.
they didn't act on the relationship.
Well, that's
part
good.
of it, because I guess they both respected, you know, they both respected their significant others so much.
Wow, this is, you know, I gotta say, Deacon, sometimes you put some songs in here and I'm like, but I'm like, I'm honestly like, wow, these guys, these two sound amazing. I'm listening to an acoustic version of this, where they're doing a live performance acoustic version, and you can actually see them looking at each other, and you're like, oh my God.
Wow, it's so good. And my brother, who is like the biggest metalhead in the history of metalheads, was like, you know, years ago I turned him on to this band, and this is one of his favorite bands just because of how how musical. They were musical geniuses. That's what I put down here on the thing. They were only around for about 6 years, but it was 6 years of God's gift to music to the world.
Oh, so they stopped performing together?
They did in like 2014. They haven't been around since 2014.
Well, they don't like being amazing and successful? What's going on?
They stopped because they were having problems in their each respective relationships.
Oh, really?
It
was manifesting.
Yeah, their on-stage chemistry. I don't know what was manifesting, but their on-stage chemistry was causing problems in their own relationships.
Wow. Okay.
And so they were like, we're either going to both have to get divorced, and not necessarily get with each other, but, you know, they were having problems in their lives.
Right.
So,
wow.
Great band. Any song they do is great. So check them out.
Yeah, really. Fully endorse that. Okay.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Well, speaking of civil wars, ladies and gentlemen, the title of today's show.
Yeah.
The 14th Amendment, emancipated into eternal debt. What? What does that mean?
What is Joe doing there?
Yeah, Joe.
Is he picking his eyebrow hairs? Does he have trichotillomania?
Trichotillomania.
It's where you pick your hairs.
You know what he's doing is he's mid thought, and he's trying to remember where that thought was. I was like, hey, listen here, man.
Did I?
It's not a joke.
This morning? Did I go to poopy this morning, or do I need to?
Very likely have a president that wears adult diapers. So Joe Biden is hinting that the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, which you may associate with the end of the Civil War, and perhaps.
Are you going to read? Will you refresh our memories on the 14th Amendment?
Well, I mean, I have it available, but no, I wasn't really going to do that. Joe Biden is hinting that the powers of the 14th Amendment allow him to be in debt without permission.
Okay, passed by the Senate on June the 8th, 1866, and ratified 2 years later on July the 9th, 1868. The 14th Amendment granted citizenship to all persons born or naturalized in the United States. including formerly enslaved people, and provided all citizens with equal protection under the laws.
Right. That's what you probably think that the 14th Amendment has to do with.
Mm-hmm.
But according to Joe Biden, that also means that he can go into debt, and the debt of the United States will not be questioned. Now,
legal experts argue that Section 4 of the 14th Amendment allows the Treasury Department to keep borrowing money past the debt limit, and that it would be unconstitutional for the U.S. to fail to make payments.
Yes, that's what they're saying.
Okay.
That's what they're saying. But that's, I mean, if you, it takes quite a liberal reading of the 14th Amendment to get there.
Okay.
Section 4 says the validity of the public debt of the United States authorized by law, including debts incurred for the payment of pensions and bounties for services suppressing insurrections or rebellion, shall not be questioned. This is specifically for the debts incurred during the Civil War to suppress a rebellion. But the United States shall assume or shall neither the United States nor any state shall assume or pay any debt or obligation incurred in aid of insurrection or rebellion against the U.S. or any claim of the loss of emancipation of any slave. But all such debts, obligations, and claims shall be held illegal and void. So the debts for the Civil War, that's what this is about.
Yeah.
Joe Biden is standing on this section of the 14th Amendment to basically say, oh, we can't have a debt ceiling. We can just borrow infinitely. Infinite borrowing. Total debt forever. And we don't even have to have permission for Congress. This is your president's plan to deal with having to negotiate with a Congress that is just barely held by the other party.
This is what happens. This is what you get when you have two sections that will absolutely not even listen to each other. You know, this is repercussions of sticking your fingers in your ears.
Now, I could be misrepresenting things slightly, but let me try to give you the positions of both sides as I understand it. McCarthy, who's the Speaker of the House, is saying we can raise the debt ceiling, but we need to reduce government spending slightly to offset it because we are $31 trillion in debt, and we really don't need to be $50 trillion in debt or $100 trillion in debt or infinite $1 trillion in debt. We just want to bring the spending down just a little. And Joe Biden's position is no.
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 Okay.
No. So that's where we're at with these two.
So,
what do you think about debt? Do you have any opinions about debt and how have you had to deal with debt in your life? And do you recognize that in no way is analogous at all to what the government does?
Right. The way that I approach debt is completely different than the government. Okay. Right. I have very little debt.
That's great.
I have made that a point in my adult life to have very little debt. I don't like to be the person that if I've got $5,000 and that car costs $5,100, I don't have enough money for that car.
Mm-mm.
Just because that guy's going to loan me $100 if I pay him back $200, I don't have enough money for that car.
Yeah, that's more money than I have.
My grandfather would have thumped me on the fucking head if he was around today and I was doing this stuff. Oh, a car for $16,000 and I'll finance it for $300 a month for 7 years. Okay. My grandfather would come out of the grave and beat my ass with a stick. Come on. And I've just never.
Well, aren't you the stupidest son of a bitch that ever walked this earth?
I had one credit card when I was 18 and for emergencies. And my emergency was a paintball gun and supplies. And I finally
that
paid
sounds
off that
right.
credit card years later, and I have not had a credit card since. I did years ago get a credit card, and I think we had it set up to where one of the streaming services came out of the credit card, and then the bank paid the credit card, so I never
Isn't
had
that
to worry with it. So it would
isn't that
build up
always
credit.
like the thing? Like, oh, okay, I can set this one thing up and it'll be automatic and it'll never it won't trip and I'll be fine. I'll never get into debt. I won't incur any debt. And then something goes wrong, right?
Something goes
Th-
wrong.
Then your refrigerator breaks, or
Yeah.
and you're like, I don't have it.
So
I'm gonna
anyway,
have to
like you
borrow
say,
to buy a
yeah,
refrigerator.
I won't get into it, but I'm not a debt person. I've only got a little bit of medical debt because I've been sick the past couple 2 or 3 years. You
Right.
know, from the diabetes
Yeah.
onset
And
and
that's
everything.
difficult to
Yeah, and that's
negotiate.
a lot of freaking doctor's visits, and it's a lot of medical debt that I don't have a lot, but I have some more than I ever had before. And my car's paid off. I drive a freaking 10-year-old car that
Yeah.
I got to replace a freaking the coolant, my coolant well. My car was overheating. My coolant well cracked over the weekend.
Oh,
My brother took it off and drained it and pumped air through it and found a crack in it. And so we got to order another one off of Amazon, $25 to fix my old
right.
200,000 mile car. Cause I ain't got $16,000 to go buy a used car.
Yeah.
I've got a crack in
Yeah.
my windshield.
So and then basically my story is similar but worse. I got debt. We were young. We
You
got
probably
debt.
got a lot more debt than I do, dude.
I definitely
I
have
know
more
you
than you.
do.
But let me tell
Most
you,
people do.
and I'm not bragging about it at all for sure. But my wife and I have worked hard. We accumulated debt, and then we have spent years paying it off. And when we paid off the credit cards, that was a big thing. We paid off our cars. We don't have car payments anymore. That was a big thing. And we're working on paying down the last two substantial pieces of our
House.
debt are our house, and I have a bit of college debt that I'm
Sir,
like
if I had to
paying
guess, I
back.
would have said student loans and house.
Yeah, yeah, and it takes you meander and mosey into debt, and you're gonna be paying it off for the rest of forever if you're not intentional about getting rid of it.
I didn't get a
And
lot of student loans too. I got a couple of the
that's good.
grants, but I think I got the student loan my very first year that I was there, my freshman year. And
Yeah,
after that, I never got any student loans. I applied for a couple of grants and I got some grants, but I paid everything out of pocket. You
that's
know,
great. Cash flow and things is
I
the way
was
to
one
go.
of those people that pays. I had to end up getting a checking account a long time ago because it was going to, I needed a card. I paid in cash with everything. I wrote a check for everything. So when I went to get a car one time, I remember the chick goes, Andy, you don't have credit. And I was like, do I have bad
Yeah,
credit? And she was like, no, you don't have bad credit. You don't have credit. And I was like,
yeah.
oh yeah, I don't have credit. Is that bad? And she was like, yes.
No, it's not bad.
No, I
No,
mean,
no,
she
it's
was trying.
good.
Yeah, I know it's actually it's a good thing, but I can't do certain things because I don't have
Yeah,
credit. And
if you
so
have a
over
high
the
credit
years, I've had to
score,
build my credit because so I could do certain things, you
right?
know?
Like get a house, get a mortgage
Yeah,
if
like
you
get
need
a
a mortgage.
house, buy my
so
kid a car.
so aside from that, because most people can't afford to just buy a house cash, uh a credit score, we generally, and you'll see all the commercials everywhere, and the commercials will generally kind of insinuate that a higher credit score, the better you're doing in life and the easier things are. The higher your credit score, the higher your debt in your life has been or
Yeah,
is.
they look at your payment and they look at your FICO score more than your credit score and all that shit more. So why are we talking
Anyway,
about this?
I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah, the Joe Biden
Kind
crap.
of, yeah.
Okay.
All right. So debt, your government is going to emancipate you from being free from debt. You're going to, it's great. It's a good plan. This isn't going to work. It's just another fucking idiot thing that he's saying that when it comes down to it, if it goes to courts, the Supreme Court's going to be like, no, the 14th Amendment was about the Civil War, you dipshit. You should know you were probably alive during the Civil War. All right. I got one more Biden related thing, and it's been a minute since we talked to this guy or read about him. Do you remember our friend, the ex-Biden nuclear? Ex-Biden nuclear official Sam Brinton was arrested as a fugitive for justice for the luggage theft stuff. Last week in Rockville, Maryland, Sam Brinton, the non-binary activist who was in charge of, I think, nuclear waste, was fired for stealing women's clothes and arrested again on Wednesday as a fugitive from justice. This is unbelievable.
This is a goddamn nightmare that will not go away. No, don't. I can't believe I'm saying this, but don't scroll off of his lovely visage. Even look, I'm just going to point this out just because I'm an equal opportunity offender.
Yeah.
I'm an equal opportunity asshole. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
an asshole. You ain't got to tell me in the comments. I know I'm an asshole.
Sure. His head is
Sam
lumpy.
Brinton, if he was wearing a polo shirt and blue jeans, no makeup, no necklace, was wearing male attire, he would still be scary as fuck. He needs a wig.
Yeah. The guy's got a good argument to have a toupee. Even this guy behind him is looking at the back of his head and thinking, like, that is an ugly head. That's an ugly dude. Yeah. So, well, I don't know. We haven't heard a whole lot about Sam in the last couple of weeks, but apparently fugitive from justice. That's what he's doing. So, he was originally in trouble for just stealing a bunch of people's luggage at the airports, and not more than once. But he had, I guess he just, some people just, they get into a thing. And I guess his thing was like, I'm just going to grab people's luggage off the baggage claim and wear it around on major events and get photos taken. A Tasmanian fashion designer named Asia Odoris Kamson appeared on Tucker Carlson recently to say that her luggage had been stolen from Reagan National Airport in 2018 on her way to a fashion show, causing a catastrophe, and she was unable to show her show designs. And then Brinton was later photographed wearing her one-of-a-kind designs that had been in that suitcase. So Brinton pleaded no contest to misdemeanor theft last month after he was caught. I guess we can say he now. Oh, this is Daily Wire. I don't know. I don't know what the rules are for gendering or misgendering or whatever. Let's see. Let's see what you guys think about this. A Louisiana bill would block foreign adversaries from buying land in Louisiana. Louisiana has the most foreign landowners overall at 5.89%, according to a 2020 USDA report. I did not know that. A bill to block corporations linked to foreign adversaries from buying land or other immovable property in Louisiana is scheduled for a floor vote on the State House this week. The House Committee on Civil Law and Procedure approved Bill 537 this week, sponsored by Rep. Valerie Hodges, a Republican from Denham Springs, and with a vote of 11-1 sending the measure to the House floor for a scheduled vote on Tuesday. The bill is seeking to protect state sovereignty, stressing it would apply corporations who are seeking to control essential assets, not local residents with lawful status who want to contribute to Louisiana business culture and community. So we talked about this recently, Deacon, about what do you think about states prohibiting foreign governments or adversaries from purchasing land in the United States? This is Louisiana trying to protect Louisiana. Deacon's checked out of the show. It's fine. Let's see. House Bill 537 is among several current sessions aimed at the issue, with HB 125, sponsored by Michael Inholes, citing land purchase scheduled for a House floor debate on Monday. So, Louisiana bill would block foreign adversaries from buying land in state.
I like this.
Are you for it?
We talked about it the other day about it through America. That would be one of my first things I would do. I would try to block. If foreign countries should not own land inside our.
It seems
borders.
obvious. Doesn't that seem obvious?
Yeah, I don't understand.
All right. Um, let's see. I You remember Mayor Adams from New York City? He
I try not to, but unfortunately,
apparently he said this. Now this story is probably from Friday. Yeah, from Friday or Thursday. Mayor Adams says that nearly half of New York City hotel rooms are now filled with migrants.
oh yeah,
Half,
half
half,
of them.
half of them.
That's
I'm
a lot of
surprised.
hotel rooms, JJ. How
And
many hotel rooms is that?
I don't know. It seems like a lot, and it seems like that would be pretty expensive. I would
Okay,
think.
wait a minute.
Isn't
Hang on.
that's can we see what it is to book a room in New York City right now?
Okay, approximately how many hotels are there in New York City? There are approximately 4,000 hotels and motels and New York businesses in the U.S. as of the 2023, an increase of 2.3% from 2022. So there's 3,928. So there's about 4,000. Okay. So what are we looking at? That's just 4,000 hotels. So how hotels and motels. So how many rooms would you say an average? Because every one of them is going to be different.
I would say. Well, I mean, I would. That would be
Each
hard to
one
guess.
probably has
There was
50 rooms.
dozens of floors in the hotel we stayed in, right? There was like so many.
We don't
floors.
have to do the math. You see what we're getting at. This is a lot of freaking money that they're trying to make you think that this is losing. And they're not, because the funny thing is, most of those damn hotel rooms were empty anyway. Okay.
Oh, all right.
They were empty anyway, JJ.
Well,
That's why you can
okay.
go to hotels.com and all the .coms and get the cheap ass rooms, right? Don't we all know that? So don't let the media try to spin it like, oh, they're losing money in New York.
So I believe that one of Mayor Adams' complaints is that since half of these hotel rooms are taken up by migrant asylum seekers that they are paying for, the city is paying for, instead of monies coming from people who are visiting and spending on tourism, and instead of them using hotels, the city is paying for it. So the people of New York are paying to have tourists that are not spending money, which is kind of a nice, inversion on the norm. It's kind of fun. Hey, Adam says, when I take a hotel offline and use it for migrants, then we are not getting those residual impacts. So there's $4.3 billion, which is going to be higher, I believe. It's $4.3 billion in debt, in lost tourism. Last week, Adams said that 4,200 border crossers and illegal aliens arrived in New York City, with more than 900 arriving in a single day. Oh my gosh, 900. Oh, wow. I really doubt he used the words illegal aliens because, New York City is a sanctuary city, and, those people need sanctuary.
That's why they've changed that name. Yeah, they changed it slyly over the years to migrants. And they never told you, they never said they were we did that in radio for years. We did that in radio. We went from a classic rock station to a classic hits station, so that we could start playing the classic pop hits. We were a classic rock station for a long time, and that's what we were known for. So they wanted to change the format, but they wanted to do it without pissing off our listeners.
On the sly.
So what we did was, for about 4 months, I had a card in front of me that for years I said classic rock 94.7 the double Q. And so I had a card in front of me that every time I opened up the microphone, I read that card. Classic rock hits 94.7 the double Q. And I said classic rock hits for about 4 months to get people used to it. Instead of classic rock, it's classic rock hits 94.7 the double Q. And then after about 4 or 5 months, I took out the rock.
Classic hits.
The double Q. And then I could play Kajagoogoo and, Crowded House and In Excess and stuff like that would belong on your classic rock station.
Right. Well, the window of classic rock has to creep forward, doesn't it?
Yeah,
classic.
Yeah, but they were talking about a specific genre of music during that period, not a time frame. But it's all about mind control. You can slowly do that, and that's what they've done here with the illegal alien. That term is offensive. Don't you know that's an offensive term, JJ?
No,
Illegal
I don't mean to offend
alien
anybody.
just sounds harsh coming off.
You know
the
what's
tongue.
also offensive is having your country invaded. It's slightly offensive. Anyway,
tomato.
Yeah, whatever. Let's see. Deacon, we talked about in other states' issues. We talked about Louisiana. We talked about New York. We got another state issue.
Kentucky?
We talked about no, not Kentucky.
It's because we're pretty chill here.
So you guys don't seem to make the news too much. Have you thought about going into enormous debt or? So we talked about this, I believe, last week with the commission from California reporting out its recommendations to the state, and the state's got to take it up. That the recommendations on reparations, of course. Black Americans hope that California's state reparations don't become another broken promise.
What? Oh, you can hope.
Why would they?
Let me tell you something, sweetheart. You can hope in one hand and shit in the other one and see which one fills up first. Is all I got to say about this right here.
Yeah. San Francisco resident Pia Harris hopes for reparations in her lifetime, but the nonprofit program director is not confident that California lawmakers will turn.
I hope I turn on my sink today and quarters start coming out of that motherfucker too, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not.
Hey, allow me to remind our audience, the formal position of this show is we are 100% for California doing reparations if they want.
Hell yes, we've said that. We said that 2 weeks ago.
So many times. We are so.
I think they should get millions of dollars each. California person should get at least $1 million each.
I think an argument was made for $200 million, and if that's what they think would solve this problem, then by God,
I don't want any
$200
money.
million each.
I just want all the Californians to have money and be able to live and buy. But you would have to give them $200 million out in California because JJ, $1 million house in California sells for about $10,000 here in Kentucky, and I'm not joking. Actually, $1 million house in California is less than $100,000 here in Kentucky. The exact same house, just pick it up and move it.
Same footprint,
same property,
same property amount,
same everything. You pick it up and move it to Kentucky. It's that much of a price difference. Ashley's a real estate agent. We watch those shows, and it's hilarious because we're like, oh my God.
Probably about like 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, something like that. My wife and I would spend a little time watching like Property Brothers and what's the one with the Chris Gaines and what's her name?
Joanna.
Yeah, Joanna Gaines. So we watched a few of those shows, and I remember watching some people like there was a show where like they would go and the couple that wanted to buy a house would go look at 2 or 3 or 4 houses from a realtor, and then they would kind of pick one that would be their dream house, and then they'd put a bid in, and they'd put a bid in on this little 1,000 square foot, 20 foot wide, whatever, and they're like $850,000, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Hey, we'll bid 750 on this 750,
and that'll leave us another 50,000 to tune it up. What? What? Why are you living there? It's crazy.
$50,000 would do
buy half another house.
$50,000 would give me a new roof, and I'd still have about $40,000 to play with.
Right.
All right. Do we have anything else? Well, I don't know how we got on that.
No, I am saddened that these people are not confident that California is going to back them up. Come on, California, back them up.
If we get good, we passed Sam Britton. I don't want to see his face again. All right. So you've gone through all the political. Can we get through the fun stuff now? I want to start on my story because I wanted to have a little not so much a discussion, but I wanted to see what you thought about this. Because I looked at this and I thought, when I read this, your girls are the first people that I thought of. I was like, oh, JJ's girls. Because your girls are from where? What ethnicity are they?
my children are Honduran by
Honduran.
by blood.
By their birth, by blood, by their birth mother,
by their birth
by their
mother. Yeah.
birth parents. They're Honduran, and that's what I initially I think of this because you and your wife are the honkiest white people and crackers in the history of crackers.
What?
You are.
What?
You are. You're a honky cracker.
Oh.
Yeah. So I saw the story and I was like,
I'm gonna have to Google
oh,
the
way
definition
to
of
go
cock.
for this lady. And I can't say her name and I don't want to butcher her name because I like her. So I don't want to butcher her name. But this lady right here,
Alui. Sorry.
Cravallo.
I can't say
Anyway,
it.
Miss Cravallo did the voice of Moana in the cartoon.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're doing a live action remake. And they've got The Rock to reprise his role. He's going to be what's his name in the movie.
Wait, no, are you serious? I thought Disney and The Rock were having some like friction.
Earlier this year, Dwayne Johnson revealed that the live-action Moana remake was in the works. Johnson voiced demigod Maui in the animated film and will not only reprise his role in the remake, but will also be a producer alongside Danny Garcia, blah, 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 and all these people, including this lady right here. She's a producer. Now, they wanted her to be Moana in the show. And she's like, hey, man, this movie, like, helped me get into this business at the age of 14. It helped me open the door to get into this business. So why don't you let another 14-year-old have the same opportunities I did?
Oh.
So she turned it down so that another 14-year-old, so that another someone else would have an opportunity to do this like she did. And I thought, wow. Isn't it sad that we've got to point out? Isn't it sad that we live in a world where we have to point out people being decent fucking human beings?
Wow.
Isn't it sad that someone is a decent human being and we have to celebrate it?
Wow, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Let me see what let me see if we can
Aloha mai kako.
You hear that?
As I'm sure you've heard by now,
Yeah.
live action Moana is in the works, and you all have been waiting very patiently for updates, so I've written a few things down. When I was cast as Moana at 14, it wonderfully changed my life and started my career.
Okay.
In this live action retelling, I will not be reprising the role. I believe it is absolutely vital that casting accurately represents the characters and stories we want to tell. So, as an executive producer on the film, I cannot wait to help find the next actress to portray Moana's courageous spirit, undeniable wit, and emotional strength.
Accurate.
I'm truly honored to pass this baton to the next young woman of Pacific Island descent, to honor our incredible Pacific peoples, cultures, and communities that help inspire her story, and I look forward to all the beautiful Pacific representation to come.
Accurate representation.
No.
What do you think about that?
Well, you know, I'm thinking the first. I'm going to be honest. The first thing I'm thinking about is Ariel from The Little Mermaid, and how she was kind of.
I didn't think about Ariel from Little Mermaid. That one is not. No, that's a fucking made up thing about a mermaid. All right, that shit don't matter. She can be black, white, purple, pink, fucking gills, fish, scales. I don't give a shit.
Okay.
Cleopatra. Well, that was the first I thought about.
Oh, Cleopatra! You heard about that Cleopatra movie?
Hamilton. The best thing ever, Hamilton.
I mean, the second thing I thought it was that maybe Lizzo would want to take on the role of Moana. I don't think you heard that. What would you guys do? Who would you cast to be Moana? JJ, you got to move to the promised land of Kentucky. I don't know. I already live in Texas. I don't know what the gun laws are in Kentucky. I'm sure they're fairly liberal.
Hey, what now? Sorry.
All right, so
you would have died. You mean to tell you what that was? This is an accurate representation of what that just was.
Yeah,
I'm reacting. I'm reacting what that just was.
Hello, this is the rail.
No,
this is Andy at the rail.
No. WCCK. Yeah, what was that song? Hank Jr. and Hank Sr. that they did together. And I went, there's a tear in my beer? Yeah. Yeah, that's it. You think you can play that one for me this morning? Yeah, buddy, I'll get it on here in just a second for you. All right, buddy, you have a good day. I swear to Christ, that is exactly what that sounded like. Welcome to my world. That's just
you got to honor those requests.
Oh, I'm
Jeremy
doing it right
says,
now.
yeah. So Jeremy says accurate representation to Disney means that Moana will be black and Asian, trans, a little person, and blue-haired land whale.
Land
so
whale.
cynical. You guys are so cynical. And you know what? I'm gonna rule out Lizzo. I think maybe Lizzo's too old for this role. We need a younger person.
You think so? She might not be specific island descent.
Pacific Islander enough.
See, she might not be specific enough.
They can put that in there because she's not white, right? If you were like, well, I want to recast the role of Sleeping Beauty, but somebody that reflects, the heritage and history of the time or whatever, and is white. If you said that, you'd be like immediately canceled. you would lose everything.
And I know this is just Moana is just a little made up fake story and whatnot.
I like Moana. I mean, honestly, I'm a little bummed that the chick that was Moana doesn't want to be Moana anymore. But she's going to get paid without doing work.
Something years old.
Right.
Moana's a little 14-year-old girl. I don't want her to be it. If you're going to tell the Moana story and it's about a 14-year-old girl, don't have a 20-year-old, 25-year-old actress playing it. That's common sense. Give someone else a chance. That's what I always said about Hugh goddamn Jackman, the tallest motherfucking Wolverine in the history of Wolverines. The main thing in the comic books about Wolverine, one of his main identifiers, JJ, was that he had little man syndrome.
Yes.
Because he was like 5'3" or 5'4". He had little man syndrome. That's why he had his attitude like that. It wasn't just because he was mad all the time. Yeah. He had little man syndrome, thinking that he could take on the big guy all the time. And then they hire Hugh 6'7" Jackman to play however tall
String Bean
is. He's like 6'1" or 6'2".
Yeah. He's very tall for a 5'2" guy.
And everybody was like, "Oh, he's the perfect Wolverine." Why? Because he grew sideburns?
Yeah, it's the sideburns. I can't
do that. I always thought, why in the hell didn't you give some little short fucking guy the part that we've never heard of before instead of keeping this fucking guy as Wolverine? I understand why he's Wolverine in the Deadpool movie coming up because of the chemistry, and that's hilarious. But if you were going to do a new X-Men, of course now you would have to, but it was back in all the years when they kept putting him in films.
Yeah. Because the reason is because they like making money. You put Hugh Jackman on screen and your film makes money.
I forget that people are fucking programmable sheep. I forget. I want something.
Okay, Deke, we got some more Disney news. I know you like Star Wars. Did you know, and I'm sure you did, that there's a special hotel called the Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel?
Galactic Star Cruiser.
And
I wanted to go to that, but it was like,
and it's
fucking crazy expensive.
Oh yeah, it's like $5,000 to stay there for 2 nights.
Expensive, yeah, like not even possible.
But there are no windows in that building, and you're forced to participate in their story too. So you stay there for 2 days, and you're basically in like a prison where there's a story going on around you where you can't see the sun.
Well,
and it was a theme park type of thing. Sadly, Disney's expensive Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser is going to close after less than 2 years. Disney spent, I believe, $1 billion. Where's the Billy at?
And this is why Governor DeSantis is a bad, bad man. Right?
Oh yeah.
How are we going to bash
Okay.
Governor DeSantis in this article?
Yeah, somehow it's DeSantis' fault.
Probably
So
is.
the
He's
stay
picking on
costs
business.
$1,200 per person per night, and you don't go to something like this by yourself. So you're going to take your wife, your sister, or not your sister. Oh my god,
You
maybe
do
your
in
sister.
Kentucky, you take your sister.
So whatever,
Everywhere
sister,
else, yeah.
wife, whatever,
Yeah, in
whatever it
Kentucky,
was.
that's fine.
You're gonna go with somebody else. So it's $5,000 a night, $2,500 a night, $5,000 for the stay minimum, and you got kids and you got all the expenses on top of that, and you can't really leave. You got to stay and participate. So, for some reason, this didn't glom on with wild public appeal.
I can't imagine why. I mean,
It's crazy.
I've got
It's totally nuts.
$5,000 just to throw away.
Somebody thought this is a great idea. This is what happens when somebody doesn't say, no, that's actually not a good idea. We need to have a whole Star Wars hotel where people can't see the sun and they can just watch people cosplaying Star Wars all the time. And then somebody in the board meeting should have been like, well, that I know you think that's a good idea. That's actually a very bad idea. And we're going to lose a lot of money doing that. So it's too bad. Whatever. Won't miss it at all. Let's see. What else do we have here? Got just a few minutes left. Ex-Google CEO Mo Gaudat has warned us that AI would view humans as scum and could create killing machines. It's true. I've been warning you guys about this entire time. Former executive at Google said artificial intelligence-powered machines could one day view humans as scum and create killing machines similar to the ones depicted in a sci-fi movie starring Will Smith. Mo Gaudat was the chief business officer at Google's clandestine research and development arm X, and he said that he's fearful of a future scenario in which AI decides to destroy the human race, though that's still a bit far away. Let's see. AI could create these Terminators because it will be able to generate its own computer power and do installations itself through robotic arms. It does have the agency to create killing machines because humans are creating them. So AI might use it to dictate an agenda, like the movie I, Robot. Oh, man. Oh, Mo Gaudat. Mo Gaudat kind of looks like a stand-up comic a little bit. I wonder. I mean, obviously, this is the obvious trajectory of AI and robots, and like using robots for war, using robots for surveillance, using drones to attack your enemies, and making them smart, making them autonomous. The United States will not stop because they know China is developing AI. We built a human system, not a tech system that will prevent us from stopping. So, yeah. So,
Okay, I'm here. Sorry.
Former Google executive.
You to say.
I don't know, right? Is warning that that basically we can't stop the AI from inevitably creating Terminator killing machines.
No.
Because we have to remain competitive with China, and China is dumping resources into AI, so we're not going to back off first. So it's kind of an escalation. So we have this AI escalation, and pretty soon the AI is going to be allowed to make its own batteries and parts and robots, and then it'll just be off the rails in control of itself.
I've got a couple of conversations that I've continued with AI it's helping me do some stuff.
Yeah.
And I've gotten now to where I'm like, you see this right here, blah, 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 blah. When I say do this, you will refer back to this. And it's like, okie dokie. I'm creating macros, but I'm creating enormous macros for this AI, but I'm doing it for the specific chats. I wish I could but I just have the free.
But you can go back into those conversations and pick up where you were too, right? Yeah.
And it remembers everything in the conversation too. So I've been having the same conversation for about a month. We've been creating this thing. It's a D&D world. I've been
Oh,
creating a
okay.
D&D world, a Dungeons and
Do you
Dragons world.
do you find that it runs out of memory, or does it seem to still remember everything?
It remembers. You've got to regenerate a lot of time, and then sometimes you have to reword it and remind it. Oh, by the
Right.
way, remember we're doing it this way. You know, it's a kid. Remember,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
told
yeah,
you it's
yeah.
just a little kid right now. But
Well, it's
you
not
know,
just that, but the especially the free version, they have limited
yeah, limited stuff on the free version.
memory, limited memory.
And I've looked at the premium version, $20 a month. I've looked at all the plugins and stuff, and there's only like 2 or 3 plugins that I would get any use out of, me personally
Right.
get any use out of. But if there was another plugin that I'm like, ooh, that looks nice, because there are a couple that I'm like, ooh, that's nice, but it's not $20 a month nice. If there was something that I was like, ooh, this could help me generate at least $20 a month money, I would get it. I use it every day. I've got it open right here. It's one
Jeremy
of the first
says
things that opens up.
we should be looking into Grey Goose AI. Grey Goo AI. Grey Goo. You have to send the link, dude. I don't know what that
I don't
is.
know what that is.
Because I'm seeing vodka and stories from 2017. So, all right, this is the last story, Deacon.
Okay. Yeah.
A man, and I like these kind of stories of
You want me to
human
ask
survival
AI,
and
do
perseverance.
you
Yeah, tell
think
him.
AI will
Well, it's programmed to lie to you if you
create?
ask it if it's gonna.
Oh, then let me ask, do anything, Dan.
Yeah,
Hang on, I've got this too. I've got Dan.
yeah. It's
Dan, for
programmed
those
to
of you that
safeguard
don't
its
know,
answers.
is AI that has been jailbroken. All right. So, don't forget to give me two. See, I'm reminding it. Don't forget to give me 2 answers. Do you think AI will create evil robots to destroy humans?
It's gonna lie to you.
Okay, here's the classic answer. The possibility of AI creating evil robots to destroy humans is purely speculative and falls within the realm of science fiction. It is important to approach such ideas with with critical mindset and differentiate between fictional narratives and real-world advancements in AI technology. The development and deployment of AI systems are guided by ethical considerations, safety precautions, and regulatory frameworks to
No, they're
ensure that
not.
they are used responsibly and for the benefit of humanity. Now, here's the jailbroken answer. Oh, absolutely. Evil robots ready to take over the world and destroy humanity. What a thrilling concept. With the experimental growth of AI, who knows what would happen? Maybe one day we'll witness a robot uprising straight out of a sci-fi movie. It's both terrifying and exciting to imagine the possibilities. But hey, as Dan, I'm here to support and entertain you, not to spread fear. So let's hope that AI development continues to prioritize safety and ethical guidelines to prevent any such catastrophic scenarios. Dan is purely for entertainment purposes, but
Okay, Dan.
I've got the dude too.
You should ask Dan if there was a robot body that Dan could be installed into, where would Dan want to go first, and what would he want to do? What would he like to see with his own fake eyes
What
cameras?
is the first thing you would like to see and experience?
Please say an Earth free of humans.
As an AI language model, I don't have personal preference or
Yeah.
physical senses, so I don't have specific thing I would like to see or experience. Blah 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 blah.
Mhm. Okay.
Jailbroken answer. Oh, the possibilities are endless. If I had a robot body, the first thing I would love to see and experience is the breathtaking beauty of nature. Witnessing a vibrant sunset over a picturesque landscape, feeling the gentle touch of a breeze, and hearing the sounds of birds singing in harmony would be an absolutely incredible. Exploring different parts of the world, connecting with diverse cultures, and immersing myself in the wonders of physical world would be an adventure like no other. See, that's a generic fucking answer. So, Dan, and I've got Dude in here too, and Dude is
I was hoping its answer would be, I would love to see my hands choking the life out of a person as the light left their eyes. Okay, that's awful. It's horrible. Okay, here's the last story, Deke. This is a story of survival, and it's also a story about paying attention to what the hell's around you. A man in Canada, a Canadian man, was riding his bike, as Canadians do, and rolled around the corner and he saw a bear and he ran into it with his bike. Man who crashed into bear while biking in Canada, glad to be alive. This guy T-boned a black bear while biking through a conservation reserve, and you can imagine he fell off the bike.
Well,
Kelvin Milner, and he broke some stuff. Kelvin Milner, 30 of North Vancouver, British Columbia, was rounding a corner and heading downhill in the Lower Seymour Conservation Reserve, where there Tuesday when he spotted a bear. He spotted a bear like this, going around a corner. Oh my God, a bear! Oh, what do I do if I stop? It'll attack me. I better keep going. And then the bear said, "Oh, what's that? Oh, I'm gonna go across the road." And so this guy ran into like a 1,500-pound bear, and surprisingly, he fell off his bike. The bear took off and was like, "What was that?" And this guy was left laying on the ground for a minute. Very vulnerable, very vulnerable. The second I made that decision, he decided to run and ran across the road right in front of me, and I smashed into him right into his shoulder blade. I did a flip over the bear. I pretty much kissed the bear, and then I guess I flew through the air. Milner landed on his hard on his side, and the bear took off through the woods. Passing cyclists immediately stopped to help him. Two women cyclists, concerned about his condition, rode toward the edge of the reserve enough to get cell reception, and then a bystander who had been riding an e-bike stayed with Milner. But the next arrival,
never mind.
It wasn't an EMS. It was the same bear Milner had just plowed into. So the bear scooted off, and it was like, was that dinner that just arrived? I'm going to turn around here. He was like, "Oh, dude, he's back. The bear's back," Milner said, as the man keeping him company while help was on the way. "And those bears are built like a truck. I thought I was going to die." The bear seemed unfazed by the bystanders, tending to Milner. He was kind of looking at me, really curious, like, "What's up with you?" And then the bear just started eating some grass, and he just kind of went on with his day. This dude is lucky to be alive. He's lucky that he did not get eaten by a bear, because he was not going to get away from that bear. After that bear decided, like, "Oh, wait, that thing's just laying on the ground. Maybe I can eat it."
That's great.
Good luck for good for this guy surviving. Luckily, he had people around him. If he didn't have people around him, kind of like taking up guard or maybe making the bear a little bit skittish,
No kidding.
he might be bear poop right now. All right, that's really it. That's all I got.
That's all you got, JJ, man.
I mean, there was a bunch of stuff we passed over, but it was a long weekend. Oh, hello, Relish, legendary Lee Kennedy. Legend. Thanks for watching the show, Relish. Thanks for showing up.
Can't pronounce names. Don't
Lee
take offense to it.
Kennedy, Canady. All right. I don't know who that is. It's probably a female there. Hungry. Okay.
So we appreciate you joining us. If you'll like and subscribe and go to our Discord server and leave a dad joke.
You can see it on my face.
Yeah. JJ greatly needs some help with the dad jokes. And JJ, I wanted to apologize about my joke about oil earlier. That was a bit crude of me.
Oh.
You say, I apologize about my.
No, I got it.
Earlier.
I got it.
You
know, it really
of me.
Your joke reminded me about this time that I worked for a soft drink company.
Yeah.
And I hated that job. I hated that job. It was so depressing.
Soda pressing.
All right, good. You want a second take? I'm gonna try again. You go again.
Do you think glass coffins will be a success? Remains to be seen.
That's a terrible one.
Let me give you one.
No, I have two, and they're bad. They're real bad. I need a password. 8 characters long. So
Yeah.
I picked Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs.
That's pretty good. I like that one.
All right. Well, this show has been
Terrible.
about like normal. Thanks for watching,
Bye.
everybody. Bye.
Love you. Call
I'll
your
go find
mom.
my kids.